Hey everyone, welcome. I am TikiLiger. I'll be running Winback Covert Operations. It's a Nintendo 64 game. We'll be playing it on the Switch online. And doing comms will be Joseph Joestar 316, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, everyone from Alex's stream. Thanks for having us.
All right, I'm ready to get started.
So I think we're good to go here.
Okay, we'll start time in 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, I guess there probably is a lot to cover, but I'll try my best to, do my best just to, build up the elements of Winback. So like Tiki said, this was originally on the Nintendo 64. We're playing this on the Switch. Got a nicer, smoother frame rate versus actual hardware. And of course, we're going to see this game being broken in so many different ways. The first being we just technically clipped from stage 1 into stage 2 by clipping through that obstacle where that barrier was, just by spamming the cover function. And right now, Tiki is actually walking along a partially loaded stage 2, going into now stage 3. Even though in the game statistics, it still technically says stage 1, because we bypassed all of those story flag triggers here. So the name of the game with Winback is we want to get to the very last stage as fast as possible. We're going to be skipping a bunch of stages. We're going to be taking shortcuts that are, definitely not intended by the developers. So the first thing he's doing here is he's shooting a
I'm actually not going to do
laser sensor through the
truck
gap
skip
between the containers. Ooh. Okay, so he inadvertently killed that guard. Normally we would use him to shoot us out of bounds. It just provides a more direct shortcut. It's just gonna, lose a little bit of time, but, not too big of a deal. But for, PB World Record strats, it's actually one of the first reset points in the run, which is, that very thing, which, for those that have watched me run this game, I, detest it because of how volatile it can be.
I actually decided not to do Truck Skip Joe just because it's such a heavy reset point.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I said, I probably reset on it like a dozen times myself just to get a run. Alright, so what he's going for now is this key, which is just conveniently placed on the ground, because, I mean...
Well, that's where all keys should be.
I don't know, where else could a key be? Yeah, so one thing you'll notice as well is we're not going to take out every guard that we see. Mainly because, we're just trying to get through this as optimal as we can. Other reasons being is that we don't want to spawn additional guards. There is not necessarily a manipulation, but like the game follows a respawn logic where as some guards are neutralized, other ones will spawn ahead. It's not always the case throughout Winback, but in some circumstances, it's best just to run right on by, deal with the scatter, intercept gunfire. Because one of the more annoying things with the enemies in this game is that they don't have to reload their weapons. It's a thing that they fixed when they remade this game for the PlayStation 2, about a couple years later when this game was created back in 1999 and 64. Old already. So that's just one of the basic things you'll see throughout the run, but as we get to some of the other bigger skips in the game, we're going to be seeing more of the stages from out of bounds and inbounds in some circumstances. In some cases, it's just going to be, you know, taking out boss fights in a rather hilarious fashion. Which, speaking of boss fights, we got Leela. Uses the N60 machine gun and isn't afraid to use it. So what we're just going to do here is just go into cover, take turns shooting at her, and just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, Lila
And
has
that is the first boss.
Lila has a ton of RNG. You basically just hope she's gonna run towards you instead of away.
Over here!
Yeah, I mean, RNG in this game has, you know, a lot of interesting dynamics. You know, mainly from the guards, their behavior as far as, you know, them reacting, you know, to when we're going through, you know, parts of the levels and, you know, how they move about. And, you know, some boss fights are pretty straightforward. Leela is annoying in terms of movement, like Tiki was saying. So I forgot to mention earlier in stage 3 that Tiki grabbed the rocket launcher at the rooftop of that building where he had dropped the ladder. We're going to be doing what we refer to as the door clip. I'm not sure exactly how this works myself, but for whatever reason, when you go into cover with the shotgun, and then if you move into the door while aiming the camera on an angle, while then swapping to the rocket launcher, it allows a brief moment of, I guess, like, you know, just, you know, free phase. I'm not sure if that's the right terminology, but it allows you to clip through doors and obstacles that are otherwise, you know, impossible to get through without it, and it is a major component to any percent, since it will allow us to bypass, you know, numerous stages or unorthodox shortcuts, and you know, a bunch of other wacky stuff you could do, which is not necessarily speedrun related, but just you know, allows for exploring, you know, other stages. Definitely not intended. Oh yeah, I always like this room. You know, it makes it look very intimidating, but then, as you can see, even with the turret, we can just run right through it. Guard blows up the explosive box, killing the other guard. You know, definitely not the brightest bunch. Alright, so what he's doing here, once again, is we're just trying to get through as fast as possible, and these lasers, let me tell you, these lasers are the worst thing in the game. Even though we're playing this on easy difficulty, the lasers will kill you in one hit, no matter where it hits you, how it hits you, and it is incredibly frustrating from a speedrunning and casual you know, basis.
So normally I would pick up that magazine at the bottom of the stairs, but for swag purposes, we're going to pick it up right here.
Wow, I actually had no idea you could do that.
Yeah, I found that totally by accident.
Hey man, the more you know. Okay, so this is an example of using the rocket launcher to not necessarily door clip, but just for going out of bounds. And what he's trying to do here is clip into the door, but not fully. Because what we're trying to do is load in the exterior of the office building. There's a second set of stairs that go up to another door. And so, yeah, right there, as you can see, when he touches the door, it shows like a blue interaction prompt, which then loads in the outside, which that door, ironically, goes, well, up to then go back down. And we bypassed a story flag, which indicated, hey, you found one of the 5 bombs. I mean, at least I think we did.
Yeah, no, definitely. Otherwise, you can't proceed. I don't really know how that bypasses it, but the game thinks we found the bomb.
Yeah, one of the sub-objectives in this game is that the terrorists had planted 5 bombs throughout the facility, but thankfully we don't actually have to find all 5 bombs. Technically, we only need to find 3 of them. And the second one... Hey, you found it! For those wondering what just happened there, is that he loaded into the bathroom even though we couldn't see it. But the objects in the room are there, you just can't visibly see them. And we were able to just walk right over the bomb and just pick it up. Ah, yes, this next room coming up is another favorite of mine. You know, when they decide, hey, you know what, we're just gonna stockpile every explosive box imaginable. I mean, it's a classic powder keg situation, and I've lost runs to this. Try not gonna say anything else, hoping I don't give the, you know, commentator's curse, and oh, thank goodness. Cause see, that is why. When those guards start shooting, you want to be as close to the door as you can without being anywhere near those boxes, because when one goes off, they all go off, and depending on where you are, it's most likely an automatic death. Okay, then there's just another use of the rocket launcher glitch, which instead of clipping through a door, we're just clipping through that gap. You know, unless if Jean-Luc just kind of tucked it in and just, you know, squeezed through.
Over there!
Let's see, question from the chat is, how good is the Switch version compared to the N64? I suppose I could answer this and Tiki can add in. I personally think it's a, you know, overall improved version of the game. Like I said, it runs at a faster frame rate, the loads are good. Controls could be a bit janky, depending on what you're using, but I think overall it's a decent port.
Yeah, it runs really, really well. There's almost no lag. There's a ton of lag on the N64 version, if you've ever played it. But, yeah, I mean, if you like the game, I really recommend it. For a speedrunning perspective, there's also 2 skips you can do on Switch that you can't do on N64 hardware. So that's worth noting.
Which of those 2 skips would that be, just for my curiosity?
Duke skip, if you can get into the building where Duke is, but when you try to leave, it crashes on N64, and then the skip that you found crashes the game immediately if you go out of bounds.
Oh, is that the one like on stage 30?
Yeah, near the very end.
Yeah, well, there you have it. You know, 2 runners endorsing the Switch version of Winback. All right, so once again, we're just using the rocket launcher cover, you know, glitch to just go out of bounds, and he's trying to navigate his way to the door, which, okay, I think. Okay, I actually thought he might have clipped into another room early. Sometimes that can't happen if you're, yeah, so like sometimes that can happen if when you're navigating through what I call the abyss, because you can't really see where you're going. There is a map you can pull up to at least give you some guidance, but depending on where you're trying to go, you can actually clip into another room on accident and you can't really proceed. But, you know, in this case, he was able to just make it to the door, load the room, and then just door clip right through it.
Yeah, you have to be very careful there. If you go too far, you will soft lock. I had a save state, one of the Switch save states ready to go if that happens, but Obviously, we don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's actually kind of amazing, like the different ways you could soft lock in this game. You know, which again, I hope we don't get to see any of that, especially a you know, particular turret at the very end of the game, which I'm happy to admit it's happened to me.
You know, that has never happened to me, so maybe Marathon Luck will change that.
Over there!
Alright, so our next boss fight is Leon. Not to be mistaken with Leon from Resident Evil 4, where his primary weapon is the shotgun. I'm just going to take out the 2 guards, and just like before with Leela, we're just going to take turns taking shots at him. You'll notice at times he'll actually go for a headshot instead of just, you know, aiming down center. It does more damage, but it can be a little fidgety when you're trying to snap the headshot. But nicely done.
Nice.
Alright, so right there, we're actually using the rocket launcher itself, not just for glitching.
Who's Joe's favorite cutscene?
Oh no, no, not Tom!
Tom, who we've met once, is now dead, and fortunately he wrote the code to the elevator in blood. Very convenient for us.
Yeah, that code goes to a elevator, which leads to the express elevator, which is one of the 2 objectives that you know, Jean-Luc and the other members of SCAT were given to capture, which was a express elevator going to the control facility, which is controlling the Gulf satellite super weapon. The other being a freight elevator, which is out of the way, but does lead you into the, you know, the same place. But Tom, as Tiki was saying, was trying to figure out the passcode and then was shot by a mysterious person in the back, but wrote the code down before he bled to death. Oh yeah, and I guess you know, just like as a trivia thing, for those curious, is that the game primarily like does not have, like, you know, standard voice acting. It's just, you know, the little things you get from the guards, and, you know, Jean-Luc's, like, you know, grunting, you know, getting hit noises and whatever death noises you would call from, like, the boss fights. But when they remade this game for the PlayStation 2, they actually did do full-fledged voice acting for all the cutscenes, as well as additional dialogue from guards. From an entertainment standpoint, it's actually pretty fun to play, given how, let's just say, unique some of the voice acting is on PS2. But the downside is that you can't do a lot of the, you know, skips and out-of-bounds stuff that we can do in this game, so it's a significantly longer run in comparison to, you know, N64 slash, you know, Switch. But, you know, just for those curious, is that, you know, you can play this on N64 if you got the hardware, Nintendo Switch Online, as well as either a PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3. If you can navigate the Nightmare, that is the PSN store on that. It's, you know, it's a digital download for $10. Or you can just pay into the expansion pack subscription for this version of the, you know, Winback that you're seeing here. Especially for speedrunning, I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely worthwhile if you want to learn, like, all the crazy skips. one thing you'll notice throughout the game is that the lower our health gets, the music changes. Like there's, green bar, which is, pretty standard. Yellow and red bars where the music gets a little panicky, as I would prefer to it. But despite some of the jank that is Winback, it's actually got a really killer soundtrack. I mean, personally, I think the N64 version of this game is better than the PS2 soundtrack they did, but they're still both pretty good. So what he did there is he used the C4 to push us through that gap. You do not want to do the rocket launcher method, as I found out the hard way, because you will actually touch the laser on the other end and insta-die. And here's our next boss fight, which is Ryan, who is going to guard this elevator to his dying breath, as in he's just not going to move, even when being shot at. He's going to evade the gunfire, evade the grenades he throws on occasion, and then just, easy peasy. Down he goes.
I'm gonna let this one play.
Oh, surely he can't do anything else. I mean, he's beaten.
So the first 12 stages of the game are all to get to the express elevator, which would take us directly to the end of the game. Unfortunately, apparently, if you blow up the panel, there's nothing anyone can do.
Man, that was our shortcut to stage 30. What a jerk. Although, a fun fact about that elevator is, you can clip into it using the rocket launcher, but sadly, it's just a empty space. I was curious if it would actually do anything during that boss fight, and I'm happy to report that it does absolutely nothing. It would have made for a incredibly, ridiculous, warp if it worked.
Over there!
Oh, nice, first try. Yeah, I think getting that that skip right there saves, oh god, I don't know, I mean, I think it's like 25, 30 seconds. It's painfully slow.
It's about
if you have to wait it out.
It's about 44
or
seconds.
even doing the backup method. Oh, 44 seconds.
Yeah, it's a big deal to get that quickly.
So this may look familiar because we've already been through here. I think this is now our... I think it's like our third or fourth revisit, but instead we're just going to go upstairs because we're pretty much done with the office stages, as we're now directed to go to the factory to make our way to the freight elevator. And of course, why go the conventional way? We can just go out of bounds. So, same thing as before, except he's going to take a little bit of a different route to the, that hallway he was in before. Earlier he clipped in to then go through a door, then up a ladder, but instead he's just going to go directly for the exit. And there it is. Alright, so that is the office section. Now we're on the factory, which thankfully we're not going to do all of the stages on the factory. Because one of the big shortcuts we're going to take here is through this corner, right where that guard is on the other end of it. He's just going to take this guy out, ignore the one above him, and then just do that same maneuver with the rocket launcher. So now we're out of bounds, but attempting to load into what is, let's see, I think we started on stage 14. This is technically stage 16. And now we're trying to clip into the door for stage 15, which is the Sergeant Thunder boss fight. And even though that may all sound confusing, because it is, but we're walking through a partially loaded stage 15, opening this door, which then it loads us into stage 15. And there's Sergeant Thunder, uses the flamethrower. I know, quite the anomaly. So we're just going to do our best to stay as far away as possible. Don't want to get hit. Flamethrower does a lot of damage. If you get hit, I lost runs to it. Don't ask me how. There's a way. If you're just not careful enough, trying to get the right positioning. And we're just going to use the explosive box and barrel to our advantage. Because I can damage him, should he either blow it up or if we shoot at it. But in all honesty, the worst part of this fight, other than, his flamethrower damage, are the two guards and those mechanical gondolas above. They just, their existence is just to make our life miserable. Alright, and that's the Sergeant Thunder boss fight. Okay, I think I'm all caught up now. It was buffered a little bit, but I refreshed it. Alright, so now we're back outside of what was stage 16, and we're gonna just take another shortcut. Definitely not intended, but it functions. I'm not sure if the developers intended for the players to be able to use that door, but then blocked it off for, I don't know, reasons. But it does save quite a bit of time and, again, just making our life easier. And speaking of making our life easier, instead of taking this mechanical gondola across the way, we're just gonna, you guessed it, go right out of bounds again. While just, attempting to clip through the door. It's very finicky. Okay, he's got it. Yeah, so we're walking on air. Don't ask me how. It's not broken. I mean, severely. So we're just walking outside of the building, through the door, opens the door, which apparently unlocks it from the outside. And we appear on the outside. And that's that. Alright, so right here, we're trying to grab this ladder. What he's doing is he's running on that corner where the ladder and where that container is that's blocking the walkway. And there's a small interactive, blue box prompt, like I explained before. And what we're trying to do is just basically spam the action button to, grab onto it and then climb down to then move the container over. Just saving some time. Oh, and even though we didn't get to see it, but we did find another one of our teammates who died. Rip Steve. Let's see, I like that the animations for walking inside or outside is so slow. Yeah, I mean, I always just kind of, I'm just fascinated with, like, the door opening and closing animations, or even the best is when we're exiting a ladder, but Jean-Luc does the animation as if he was opening a door. I think Tiki knows which one I'm referring to. That's actually in the next stage coming up after this. But I guess one thing I don't think we covered yet is like the actual weapons in the game. Standard loadout that we have are the handgun, the submachine gun, and the shotgun. overall, the handgun is the ideal best weapon. It's infinite ammo, it's got 15 rounds, does sufficient damage, good lock-on range. Submachine gun and shotgun, you need to collect ammo for it throughout the game, which can either be, just found naturally from just global spawns, or some guards may drop them. The submachine gun's got longer lock-on distance range than the pistol, but the reload time is longer. Whereas the shotgun has the, least lock-on range, but has good damage up close, but the shotgun spread is absolutely awful. That's one of the things I think they fixed when they remade this game for the PS2. So for the majority of the run, as you may have noticed, that we'd have to use the pistol. At times, the shotgun and submachine gun can, expedite some situations, like, destroying the, wooden boxes, or if there's like a group of guards just, clustered together. But, like, you can see, like, Jean-Luc's movement speed is not affected by whatever weapon he's carrying. The only thing that slows us down is when we reload. And when we do those rolls, which do not, protect us from gunfire, sadly. It can help at least evade. Because one of the things that we do not have at our luxury is iframes. Only in certain situations, like climbing up and down ladders, if we get damaged. But one of the biggest things to look out for, besides the lasers, is explosions. That deals a lot of damage. And what I found out yesterday is the knife. Guards do a lot of damage with the knife, more than anything. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it's very silly in this game. The most damage is always done by a knife or by getting kicked or punched. Actually, getting shot usually doesn't hurt you as much.
Yeah, so I mean, go figure, having all these weapons, but it's the, close quarters, stuff that deals the most damage. Oh wait, so here's the ladder I was talking about. So watch carefully. There it is. He's closing the door that isn't there. I love it. Oh yeah, neat thing here is that, like, when we cross this fence, all those guards that appeared, they just vanish. I don't know. I mean, don't ask me. It's just Winback doing Winback things. So coming up as another, big time saver here is we need to shoot this lock in order to have this door be open to then, turn the power on to get these containers and their cranes operating. But instead, we're just going to clip through using the rocket launcher, like so. And even though we didn't shoot the lock, the game just assumes we did, and it just opens anyway. Alright, so he's gonna try to go for a, let's see, okay, yeah, he's gonna play it safe. I think you can one-cycle this room. It's very hard. It's also very high risk, especially with that explosive box that he just shot at there. It deals a lot of damage, and the stagger in your movement is really the bigger consequence. In addition to being shot at, like, the explosions will stop our momentum. And then, so like if we're trying to go for something like, one cycle, it will just stop it, like in its tracks. And it's more of an annoyance than anything. So coming up is the Duke Skip, not to be mistaken for the Dark Souls version of the Duke Skip. But it does skip a boss fight, which is called, Duke. So we're just gonna clip through the door, which normally if you open it, it will actually start the boss fight, but instead we're just gonna go through so we got the empty building version. I think depending on frame you enter the door in like this, it'll either load the room partially, or you just get nothing. But both will still let you get through, and then the benefit to this is not only do we not have to fight Duke, but we don't get all the guards that spawn in, like they just don't show up. Now, if you guys thought that skip was mind-blowing, this next one will really get your head spinning. So, we're gonna go through the door we just entered to get into this stage. Okay, so yeah, we actually need to see what's outside, so he's just gonna do this again. So, we're now outside of where we're supposed to be. Walking on the road, which is over the sewers where we were supposed to go. And then, boom, clip right back in. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been mentioned a few times already that this game is uniquely broken. Alright, so, he's gonna do... at least I think he's gonna do this skip at the fence line. It's one of the hardest things to do, so I'm just gonna let him concentrate. Wow, first try. Let's fucking go.
Been practicing that.
Yeah, I have a hard time doing that. I've gotten it to work maybe a couple of times, but, you know, Tiki just has the magic touch. Alright, so, doing that fence line skip saves, I think it's like a minute, 20 minute and a half. I don't exactly remember, but it saves a lot of time. It's a huge skip. And like I said, it's one of the hardest to do, because it's not like clipping through the doors and the gaps that you've seen before, because the variables involved are a lot more restrictive, you know, getting it just right. And it's definitely like, yeah, the new run killer of the way that it's routed in easy any percent, but if you get it, big time save. So we're coming up on the freight elevator, which is the, you know, story-driven, you know, objective that we talked about.
I'll let this play. We're underestimating
Which
here.
will lead into the next boss fight, which is Gunt. Oh no, not Law.
Yeah, this game loves showing you characters you've never met before and then having them die immediately.
Well, I mean, technically we did beat them, but, you know, just we didn't see it. You know, and like a badass, you know, he, you know, pushes us into the elevator, starts it up, and then, you know, it just goes out shooting.
Very accurate shot.
Now that's some legit spray and pray right there.
Now that's cinema. Alright, let's get this one.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 cutscenes. Yeah, absolutely. Alright, so this is Gunt. He uses a rocket launcher, not like the one that we have, because his missiles actually track. But thankfully we can use that against him just by, you know, moving around. If only he yelled, "I am the law." I don't know. He would need the helmet to make that legit. All right, so we're finally in the control center. Although I think, according to the story, we need to be in the control room, which is stage 31. I sort of know what I'm talking about at times, because I mean, when we skip all these cutscenes, you forget all these details. So the control center is casually probably one of the worst places in the game. It's, you know, got a lot of, you know, not really labyrinths, but, you know, it's a lot of backtracking, a lot of annoying, you know, defensive barricades and things that they got set up. So thankfully we're gonna go through, you know, none of that. So we're gonna go through this door. Yeah, see, that's the risk you take sometimes. They don't always shoot at us at the door, but it's annoying when they do. So this just bypasses the majority of that stage. And coming up is the, well, for me, the second hardest thing to do in this run, which is a quick reaction to shoot a guard but not kill them, while having this door stay open, as it will not open at any other point if it's missed. It fell. Commentator's curse.
So I shot a little bit too early there. The guard was too far back, so the door closed. We want him right in the middle of the door so it stays open for us.
Yeah, and the reason for this is that we need access to that elevator that's in the middle, and casually the game directs us to go up to the right, around, and through a really not so fun stage. But instead, he's just going to shoot the guard while keeping them, you know, close enough to the door so it doesn't close shut. And the timing is really exact, because you don't want to shoot too late and they'll run through it, and if you shoot too early, they'll be shot through the other side of the door. Which now we clip through this elevator. Okay, so we didn't load it in fully. So in this case, we do need to, because we need access to the elevator button panel. But getting the elevator to load back in is a little bit tricky. Oh, there you go. Now this skip, believe it or not, chat, we go from stage 25 to stage 30. Yes, we skipped 5 whole stages. Skipped a lot of peak cinema cutscenes and plot twists. And we go to the second to the last stage of the game. Man, you know, I think I remember when I first saw, you know, that skip with the elevator, it just blew my mind that, you know, there's just so much like to be discovered, and you know how this game has, you know, been, you know, ran, optimized, re-optimized. When I first started running this 4 years ago, I could not imagine this game being done under an hour. And now it's, well, I mean, Tiki broke his own record in this not that long ago at 43 minutes 5 seconds, which you know, definitely hats off to, you know, that run. But what requires to get, you know, sub 45 minutes is getting a lot of these skips first try, including that elevator skip, which unfortunately we did not get, as well as just praying for a little bit of luck with some of the guards, which includes this one, which is, man, he is committed. Yeah, there's times where they are just like bound and determined to chase you down. At least until he gets stuck.
It's really hard to turn around and shoot somebody who's chasing you. Like, game mechanics just don't allow for it, unfortunately.
camera is really janky. Even if you were to try to do a target lock and, you know, an aim, it's not always smooth. So it's sometimes better off just, yeah, not to fight them if you can avoid it. Alright, so we're through that defensive barricade just by taking a really well precise shot at, you guessed it, some explosive barrels. I mean, I don't know, it seems like a pretty big place, and I don't know, for some reason they're like, oh yeah, just place them right next to the fortifications, I'm sure I'll be fine. Oh, speaking of explosive barrels.
Let's see if we can get this just for fun.
Alright, so we're going up to the tail end of,
Yeah, there we go. So, you don't have to do this. It's only faster if you get it immediately. But if you do get it, all the guards in this room are despawned.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, I didn't know that it wouldn't spawn the guards, but as he mentioned, if you do get it first try, it does save you time. Because that area of the control room in Stage 30 is nasty. You know, casually, it's a really punishing setup. Which, with the rocket launcher, you can take the turret out. If you're fast enough, you could just move off to the side and then shoot the barrel out from there. So right here is a skip that I found. Not the door clip itself, that was already found before, but it was the method of using it here. I just did it out of curiosity one day after, you know, doing a run of Metal Gear Solid 1, which was doing a trick very similar to this, which is going out of bounds and just running directly where we need to go. And it may look like he's just running into nowhere, but eventually he's just gonna load into the last room of the game and you know, open a door to actually end the stage.
I go too far right. Might have gone too far right.
Overshot it. Yeah, this is, yeah, unless if you're really careful with you know, how you're navigating, you could move past the loading point to get into the room. Oh, there it goes.
All right, we're well underestimate here, so I'll let a couple of these scenes play. This is the final level.
Yeah, peak cinema. Also, banger soundtrack, by the way. Alright, so as you guys see, Commander Dan was in fact the traitor. And we're just going to be, you know, trading shots with them while using the explosive barrels located around the room to deal a, you know, first chunk of damage. I was a little bit short. Yeah, if you deal enough damage when you shoot those barrels, it'll actually end it right then and there.
All right, coming up is Joe's favorite scene. I said it before, but this is his actual favorite scene.
I think it's every Winback runner's favorite scene. especially on PS2 because they did it so well.
You probably didn't know, but I'm half Sarkozian. Sarkozian? You mean from Sarkozia? It's a great line.
Also note that it's misspelled multiple times.
Alright, so Dan goes on a super long monologue here about his past and why he betrayed the team, and it's not super interesting. The best part is just the beginning. So we'll skip this. We have to fight Cecil, and then time will be coming up on Cecil's death animation.
Yeah, Cecil is by far the easiest boss fight in the game. The laser traps are a bigger threat than he is. He's gonna shoot the sensor, go on the turret,
Time.
shoot him down, and that's time. Also, thankfully, there was no soft lock on that turret, which for some reason can't happen.
There's no actual video of that because I've been looking, but and I know it happened to you. It happened to another runner, but can't find any actual clips of it. It's very funny.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't even know what causes it. Like, it's just some weird like frame. Like as you enter the turret, it kind of locks up when you try to aim, and then when you dismount, it makes you clip through the floor, and you have to like start the stage over. But you know, once again, just you know, nicely done run. You know, for those interested in wanting to play this game, I would recommend it. You know, if you have a Switch, if you have an N64, just collecting dust, or whatever the case. But you know, thanks for having me. And you know, hope you guys enjoy the rest of the marathon with Alex. And I guess I'll let Tiki, you know, say his spiel here.
Yeah, first just want to thank Joe for doing comms. I really appreciate it. And then thank you to Alex for putting on a great marathon. I hadn't heard of Alex before, and then I saw us and I was like, that sounds awesome. I want to take part. And he's been great. So I hope everyone sticks around and watch the other runners. We got a quick scene of the GoldenEye satellite being destroyed here, and then that's it.
That's awfully big for the GoldenEye satellite, but I do like the explosion.
It's more like the Under Siege 2 satellite, if you ever seen that.
I have seen it, and people have mentioned it to me multiple times.
And then for me, the most satisfying part of this game has always been the end, when you fly away. Because if you're playing casually, you're going to die a lot of times, and it says Operation Winback failed, but at the end it finally says Operation Winback accomplished, and it's super satisfying. All right, well, that's it from me. Alex, I'll let you take it away with the next run.